Topping today's news, Hurricane Melissa leaving several Caribbean countries devastated as it heads towards Bermuda. Parliamentarians passed another bill that will help keep the Bahamas off financial blacklists. The opposition said foreigners are finding loopholes in the immigration laws in order to fish in Bahamian waters, and the dangerous drug fentanyl now on the streets of the Bahamas. This is your JCN Evening News. I'm Jarino Saunders. Thank you so much for joining us. As Hurricane Melissa continues to move away from the Bahamas, emergency crews continue to make their damage assessments on the various family islands that have been impacted. A hurricane warning for the central and southeast Bahamas has been discontinued. Melissa weakened to a Category 2 hurricane as it made its way through the Bahamas with winds up to 105 miles per hour. Now, there have been reports of severe flooding, roof damage in some areas, including some downed electricity poles as well, but there has been no reports of casualties. Unfortunately, at least 5 people have been confirmed dead in Jamaica, and which they took a direct hit from the hurricane when it was a Category 5 hurricane. At least 25, including 10 children, died during flooding in Haiti. In total, 34 have been confirmed dead, including 1 in the Dominican Republic. In Jamaica, Prime Minister Andrew Holness noted that 80 to 90% of rooftops were destroyed, including those of hospitals and police stations. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel said the country had prepared for the worst-case scenario, which helped its response. Wednesday, in the Parliament, members of Parliament debated a bill for an act to amend the automatic exchange of the Financial Accounts Information Act. Prime Minister Philip Davis explained that while the Bahamas has implemented strong legislation, it now has been asked by international regulatory bodies to support that legislation with a strong administrative compliance framework.
This framework enables us to monitor, supervise individuals and financial institutions to ensure adherence and compliance with the law, prevent circumvention of the standard administered, and enforce penalties for non-compliance and make sure taxpayers fulfill their obligations. During the on-site assessment, the assessment team recognized that the Bahamas has a CRS, that's the Common Reporting Standard, and the automatic exchange of information compliance strategy in place. So they found that we have that in place, which is still evolving, but noted that we need to further develop our administrative compliance framework. The amendments we are debating today essentially empower a designated supervisory authority to charge with the responsibility of conducting compliance and investigation activities such as audits and on-site visits to financial institutions to ensure that they are reporting in a timely manner to inspect and verify documents and records.
The Prime Minister also reminded that he has written to international bodies responsible for placing the Bahamas and other small island states on financial blacklist to express concerns that, as he sees it, only former colonies and black-led nations are being targeted, which he says has yielded positive results. Leader of the official opposition, Michael Pintard, said while they support the efforts to remain off any blacklist, the current amendments are unfair to Bahamian businesses. He goes on to explain why.
Madam Speaker, this amendment that has been brought today has unintentionally placed additional burdens of compliance on small businesses by potentially, Madam Speaker, requiring annual audits and raising penalties for non-compliance, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we risk punishing the very enterprises that we should be empowering. Many small business firms, Madam Speaker, operate on narrow margins. Adding another costly audit or compliance layer will make a difference in whether they survive or not. One of the things we will do, Madam Speaker, is remove this requirement, this automatic requirement for the range of businesses that this government is penalizing, that they will not have to produce an audit, Madam Speaker. Some of them need only have an audit review that is conducted, Madam Speaker. Many of them, Madam Speaker, their only client is the government. So the government already knows what their revenue is. And yet the government is requiring some of these agencies to, again, have an audited report.
In the end, the bill was supported by the opposition and successfully passed, now on its way to the Senate. Tempers flared in Parliament as Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard accused the Davis administration of allowing an increase in foreign nationals working aboard Bahamian fishing vessels. Mr. Pintard also raised questions about the misuse of marriage laws to obtain work permits.
We agree that as best possible we are going to seek to close any loopholes that permit persons to enter into relationships of convenience in order to circumvent our laws and to work in sectors where their historical bad fishing practices can damage our marine resources. And Madam Speaker, we made substantial progress, not just in one, passing the Fisheries Act, but Madam Speaker, in two, again, identifying cases where persons were circumventing the law. And we were cautious, Madam Speaker, not to delve into private people's relationships and assume from the outset that everyone who's in a relationship with a foreigner, that somehow there's some marriage of convenience. We don't believe that. That's nonsense. But we do find it, Madam Speaker, and we did at that time, found it very bizarre, where we would have had applications from some folks, and we could remember there were multiple applications, Madam Speaker, where persons identify themselves as living, and it was often within 2 or 3 of the same corners in the area I grew up in proudly in Angliston, and their love story of how they fell in love and was, you know, seeking to get married to a Bahamian was the same. They went to the fish fry, their eyes met, they fell in love, and then they got married. And we then looked also at the pattern of travel, Madam Speaker. At the end of the lobster season, they were gone. They came back again at the beginning of the lobster season.
Immigration Minister Alfred Sears quickly rose to his feet, rejecting what he called baseless claims and challenging Pintard to bring forward evidence of wrongdoing.
Bahamians who are married to foreign persons, there is a very rigorous process when they apply for permit to reside, when they apply for permanent residency, and when they apply for citizenship. It's the same process. It is the same officers who are reviewing and preparing the application. If the honorable member, in making the insinuation, if the member has information, has evidence, provide it to the authorities. If there are any fraudulent marriages which are taking place, you are a loyal citizen of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Provide the evidence. Provide it to the police, provide it to the immigration officer, so that we protect the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Speaker Patricia DeVoe later ordered parts of the exchange struck from the record after tempers flared between both sides. Despite these tense debates, Mr. Pintard maintained that the government must do more to protect Bahamian fishers and close potential loopholes in immigration and enforce them. Free National Movement candidate for Golden Isles by-election, Brian Brown, firing back after Progressive Liberal Party candidate Darren Pickstock claimed he hasn't done anything for the constituency. During his nomination, Brown thanked his party and residents of Golden Isles for their continued support. He was outside the House of Assembly on Wednesday.
First of all, I want to thank the leader in the Free National Movement and the wonderful people of Golden Isles for giving me the opportunity to serve. I feel confident. I'm no stranger to Golden Isles. I live there, I drive on the streets, I shop in the food store with them. They know me, so I'm no stranger. They beckon the call for me to come, and I'm prepared to serve.
Brown said he's proven his commitment to the area even after losing the last general election.
I assume Mr. Pickstock has not been in Golden Isles.
You don't know Golden Isles.
If he know the boundary in Golden Isles and knock on any doors, they will tell Mr. Brown has kept his office open for the past 4 years, even after losing the by-election. I've had
Losing the
last general election. I've hold classes for the students, and anybody could go. If he goes into Golden Isle, they will tell you, Mr. Brown is a man of action, man who get the people. And he could tell you that. He could tell you that. I understand that he said the other day that he's the only one who could get the work done. Well, by John, his mother didn't only make one MP. Brian will be the MP whenever you see the ballot boxes closed on election day.
The Golden Isles by-election expected to be one of the most closely watched races in a while as both major parties look to gain momentum ahead of the general election in 2026. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back following these commercials.